All right, so today we're going to make, oh, whoops, let me make this really big. Okay, so today we're going to make a chalk pastel drawing of a donut. This is just a simple drawing process that we're going to be using to kind of get a little bit more familiar with the chalk pastel medium so that you guys can have that option as you're, moving on in drawing. So what I've got here is a piece of construction paper, so a piece of colored paper, and I have my pastels up here. So I've chosen some different colors for different areas of my donut. So I have, for the kind of bread portion of the donut, I have a brown to be my shadow, and then a yellow for my midtone, and then I'll use a white for sort of a highlight. And I'll clean this off before I use it. Then for my icing, again, I have a dark. I'm going to have blue icing on my donut. So I have a dark blue for the shadow, and then a lighter blue for my midtone. And then to add shine, I'll use my white again. Then I have a few different colors for sprinkles, and I have a black just in case I need to, or because there will be some places where I want to add a little bit of shadow here and there, like really dark shadow with a black instead of just with a darker version of my midtone. I also have a white charcoal pencil, but and this is just kind of sketch out my image beforehand. But if you don't want to use a white charcoal pencil or don't have one, you can just use a regular pencil, but use it like draw very, very lightly with it. Um, because you don't want to run into a situation where your chalk is not covering it. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm just going to sketch out my shape. And my basic shape is going to be kind of like an ellipse with sort of like if you took an ellipse but kind of, cut the edges off a bit. So whoops. So there, just that sort of shape. And then just going to make a ellipse at the top. That's my hole. And I can kind of erase any extra chalk. And then I can kind of draw in that sort of line there. And since this will be oh, wait, let me make that a little bit more even on both sides. I just realized it was not. One nice thing about this is that it erases so well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and add the bottom of my icing because this is an iced donut. So there we go. And then I can do kind of the same thing in here. There. And actually, I don't like the way that looks. There. Okay. So we've got our donut. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with the kind of bread portion of it. And for that, remember, I have these three colors selected. I'm going to start with the shadow at the bottom. And this is not going to be a ton. This is just going to be a little bit of brown. So I'm going to come along and do more of it where I want there to be more of a dark shadow. Just kind of, I went outside the lines, but it's okay because I have an eraser. Okay, so I'm just kind of coming along. And so now I'm doing a bit lighter as I'm moving up. And don't worry about it being super smooth or, any particular type of strokes or anything, because this is all going to be blended up. This stuff blends really, really nicely. So what I'm going to do is just run my finger along. And I'm kind of running it along that bottom edge where my darkest value is going to be. And once I have that done, I can kind of start bringing it up a bit. So now I'm going over where the lighter value is going to be. And then I can smudge that upward just a little bit so that I don't have sort of a stripy effect. It seems more like this is blending in with that purple background. Now, and this is going to be kind of like when we were doing watercolor um, gradients. You have one color that starts at the bottom and it goes up and it fades as it goes up. And then another color is coming from the top and it fades as it goes down so that they blend together in the middle. Same principle here. I'm going to have yellow up here. And it is going to be nice and vibrant up in these areas. Okay, so now I've got my vibrant yellow up there. And now I'm going to, just like I did with the brown, I'm going to kind of have a less intense yellow going on here, kind of reaching into where I've got some brown and then much looser below that. So this is not as much yellow. This is just a bit, just a little bit. Okay, and so now we can blend all of this. Or actually, wait, no, I take that back. I'm going to start with the most yellow. Here, this finger is still clean. So I'm just blending this area that's totally yellow and very vivid. And then I can kind of start coming down and blending that into the space below it that's a little more brown. So what we're kind of getting here is more of a golden sort of a color. We have a lot of yellow mixed with just a teeniest bit of the brown. And then we'll go down a little bit further, and we're getting a little bit of a darker gold. And then finally, we'll go all the way down. And that is giving us, where we're kind of blending down to that dark brown. Now, I might go over it one more time, just a little bit more yellow. And lighten this up a bit. Okay, and I think we've done pretty well there, and then I can come back with, oh, hang on, okay, I should have I'm wiping off with my shirt, but you probably will want to use a paper towel on yours. I just forgot to grab one. Okay, so I now have a clean wipe. And so I can come along and add just some lighter little areas here and there. Just kind of scribbling them in. And then we'll blend that in too. It's subtle, but I think it helps. Just trying to make sure it's all nice and blended. Okay. And then we're going to do the teeniest bit of the same thing here. And then here, it's a really small space. So what I'm going to do, if I can reach it, is I'm going to blend it with a blending stone. It's not just for pencil, it works for this too. And this can be a slightly darker value because it's going to be inside that hole, and everything in that is going to be a little bit shallow. Now I can move on to icing. So here I'm going to use my darkest value for the bottom of my icing because I want it to look like it's standing out a bit from the donut. So having a bit of a shadow along the bottom is going to help with that sort of illusion. So it's going to be darkest right along here. I'm trying not to go too much onto the donut itself, like onto the yellow, but in a couple of spots. It'll be okay. All right. So I've got that really, really dark outline. And now I want to have a bit more of that dark blue here on the sides. And this is going to blend with our mid-tone, kind of the same way that we blended our shadow with our mid-tone for most of this. So here we're going to be blending this dark blue with our mid-tone, our lighter blue. And we'll do the same thing here. There we go. And then I'm just going to have a little bit kind of coming onto the donut. Okay, that's it. So now we're back to blending. And actually, I'm going to rinse my hands off really quick so I can get all of this brown and yellow chalk off my hands. All right. Okay, so now I have clean and dry fingers. So I can do this without getting yellow or orange into my blue. So I'm just kind of coming along and kind of just smoothing all of that out. And then this area where it's supposed to be a bit less intense, I'm using a second finger and then here I'm using a third. So I'm trying not to carry too much of the chalk from my more intense spaces into these higher areas. My pinky, I'm just kind of really trying to get it to like fade out. Oof. Also kind of correcting some areas that needed more blending on there. Okay, so I can come back and adjust. Like here, I can see this needs a little bit more blending. Ah, all right, and then, oh, totally forgot to do it over here, but we have to do it over here too. I keep forgetting about this little hole. There we go. So then we come in with our midtone. Yeah, this is our shadow, and this is our midtone. So for midtone, again, we're gonna have it be really intense, like up here. And now I want to have some areas on my donut that are like super, super shiny. So I don't even want to put a whole bunch of this mid-tone there. I may just want to leave them so the only top on them will be like white, like really, really white. Because icing is super shiny, right? So I'm gonna maybe leave some areas here. Like there's gonna be a shiny bit, and I think here's gonna be a shiny bit. I don't want to have a bunch of other pigments in those two areas. So the rest of this though is gonna be pretty intense. So I'm just kind of scribbling all of it with my chalk. And this looks like kind of a mess now, but it'll come together. All right, now I'm going to do a little bit of that kind of scribbling sort of thing going down into this dark blue. So we'll be able to blend them together. And we'll do a small notch going all the way down, just like we did with the yellow. Same kind of thing. I'm having, no, that was not what I meant to do. Okay, but it's okay, it blended out. So now down here, I'm going to have the smallest amount of blue down at the bottom, and then kind of gradually have like more and more of my light blue as I'm am moving up toward the top of my donut. So just a little bit down here, and then more up here. And then we'll do the same thing here, of course. So a little bit down there, and then more intense up here. Excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to first kind of blend in these areas that only have the light blue. I'm just kind of blending that, smoothing it out. All right, and then I can start blending where I have mostly light blue, a little bit of dark blue, and I'll just kind of move my way into darker areas because I want to pull that light blue into the darker blue, not the other way around. All right, and then we can come in with our white. And again, I really wanted to have some areas that were like totally white. Maybe like super white because you know the icing is going to be really glossy, right? So you're going to have like a really hard shine on it. It's not going to be a soft shine like you have on the cake here. So I'm going to have some areas that white is not blended into anything at all. It is just there on its own. And then I'm going to have other areas where it's blended in more to make like a soft highlight. Because depending on what kind of light is in this room with this donut, it's probably going to have some of both, some softer highlights and some harsher ones. Okay, so now I've got my white on those areas. And now I'm going to come around the side of where that hard highlight is. And I'm adding a bit of white to the blue right in the immediate vicinity of the shine. And now I'm just adding a little bit of white. See, I'm It's very faint, it's very kind of scribbly, and it's not solid. Okay, so now I'm going to clean my fingers off one more time. So I really don't want to get any other colors into this white. And now I'm going to smooth out those areas that are completely white. I want to do them first because I don't want to get any other colors. So I'm just smoothing them out, smoothing the strokes, making them look like, they're colored in smoothly. And then I can move into my next lightest values. And again, if your finger is dirty, it has like a whole bunch of stuff on it, move to a different finger. And so I'm just kind of working from my lightest areas into my darkest areas. I'm going to start with those lighter areas, and I'll move to my darker ones. I have no idea what that honking was. If that came through on the video. All right, so here we've got our donut with a nice little shine on it, and I'm excited about this. It looks good. Now we're going to add in some sprinkles. So I've got these 3 colors I'm going to do sprinkles with. And each of these, super simple. It's just a line. It is just a line. We're just doing what's called jimmies. If you are unfamiliar with the baking world, different sprinkles have different names, and the long skinny ones are called jimmies. So we're just going to do some pink and purple. Well, in my case, pink and purple. You can do whatever color you like. But I'm just going to do some pink and purple jimmies on here. I'm just doing a few. Actually, this is probably more than a few. I should probably switch to a different color. Okay, so I've got a couple different shades of pink here, and then I'm going to have a purple as well. I can't bring myself to put anything on top of that white shine. It looks so good, but I'm gonna have to. There. Okay, and last I'll come in with the purple. I'm trying to have these all go in like different sections. If you imagine that they're like in a canister that has like a sprinkling kind of top, and you just kind of shake some sprinkles onto there. They land all like haphazardly and going all different directions. That's kind of the look that we're going for here. I think that's about good. And then last, I'm going to clean off my white. So I'm just kind of wiping it on this paper towel to get it all nice and clean again. Let me come, and this is the most okay, well, that sprinkle is all smudged, and that will never do. Okay, so I'm just going to come and do a teeny bit of white on each sprinkle, and it seems stupid. I realize that you're like, oh my god, that's so much work for just the tiniest detail. But tiny details like that make a huge difference. Like, really. So I'm just adding a teeny bit, the tiniest bit of a white highlight to each of my sprinkles. There we go. And then let me come in with the black. And now I'm just going to add the teeniest bit of shadow underneath both the sprinkles and this icing bit, and then a tiny bit underneath the donut. And that's really going to help with this sort of three-dimensional illusion. So I'm going to use a corner here. I'm going to use a corner that is still very square looking. If you don't have a corner that's super square looking, I would find your closest thing to it, because that is going to allow me to have a very fine line. Alternatively, you could use a charcoal pencil. Charcoal is very, very similar to chalk. You can kind of swap them out and use them together, and it's fine. So if you want to get a very thin line, you may want to just use a charcoal pencil that is sharpened to a point. Um, but I have a nice little edge on this, so I'm just going to use that. And so I'm just kind of drawing a teeny bit of a line under each of these. I'm kind of trying to go like along the opposite of where I have that highlight. I'm sorry, I know I'm holding the paper at a weird angle for you. I'm looking at it from the side, like from where I'm sitting, this is up, this is down, and I'm just kind of looking at it sideways. But it's helping me to keep from getting my hands in the chalk and smearing it around. So that's why I'm doing it like that. Ah, okay, and now I'm gonna come and do a little bit just right underneath. Okay. Well, I kind of reached the point where I'm going to have to reach across this chalk. So I'm going to show you how I can do that without screwing up all my hard work here. I take a piece of paper and put it here. Now I can put my hand on it, and I'm resting my hand on the paper, and it's not going to smudge all my chalk up because this paper is protecting it from me. So I'm just going to come and do the lightest little bit of a shadow. I don't really want it to look like a hard black line, but so I may break it up a bit here and there. But I do want to look like there's a little bit of a shadow. So I'm not doing a line all the way across. I'm kind of breaking it, it's going here, then it's stopping, it's going here, then it's stopping, it's coming here. So it's just a little bit here and there. Oh, okay. Okay, so I've got this. And then I'm come along the bottom and add a bit of a Check this cast shadow. I am just um, okay, there we go. Okay, so now I'm trying to go as close when I'm blending this black. I'm trying to go as close as I can to the donut without actually mixing my black with that orangey brown. So I'm kind of looking at it from the side, like my head is almost on the table. You can't really see me, but my head is almost on the table here, so I can kind of see where my finger is going to go. Make sure I'm not about to like, you know, smear black all into my donut area. Okay, now that stressful bit is over, we're just going to blend the rest of this out. And then we can kind of fade it out. Just, oops, rubbing in a circular motion and kind of spreading that chalk out a bit. We can spread it outward and kind of fade it out onto that purple. And that is it. We are done. So thank you for joining me. And next we are going to apply the same techniques to drawing a still life with our chalk pastel.